I was between 6 and 7 years old, and I can't give you an exact date because obviously I was incredibly young.
Yeah.
What I do know, it was very, very summary. We were in shirt sleeve order, as it were. And we've been over to Blackburn to see my grandfather, who was in Queen's Park Hospital.
Yeah.
On his last legs, he was on his way out. So if we behaved while we were at the hospital, it was a regular thing that my father would stop somewhere on the way back on the moors, and he'd let us run wild for a while.
Yeah.
You know. Now I've got to put you in the picture. My father was ex-military.
Yeah.
I'm ex-military as well.
Yeah.
He was a very serious man. Never told a lie in his life, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
And like I say, a very serious man. He always had, his work ethic and everything was perfect, as from memory. So to say, that he would be a good witness in any court would be an understatement.
Yeah.
Anyway, we stopped on the moors, and for whatever reason, he decided we were going to walk up Winds Hill.
Right.
And off we went. We had, there's me, my brother, my elder brother, he was about 12 at the time, and my father, who was, like I say, he was a servant at the time, he was a serving sergeant major in the TA.
Oh,
So he was a serious guy. We're walking up the pike. We got the pike in view.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of being giddy as a 6-year-old or 7-year-old would be. And I saw my dad stop and stare. And I thought, what the heck's going on here? So I kind of followed his gaze, and he looked right next to it from where we were stood. He's probably, 50 meters off. There was a silver craft, as clear as day. I mean, we're close enough to see it very clearly.
Yeah.
Although perspective is a very difficult thing, especially when you're younger.
Yeah, it is.
And to guess how big it would be, I would say it was somewhere the size of a car, but I'm guessing. I don't know. Because it's like the old Father Ted thing, far away cows, My brother saw it. My father's standing there more or less with his mouth open. Now, it took a lot to shock my dad. My dad was more or less unshockable. But my brother, me, and my dad are standing there all with our mouths open, more or less, watching this thing. And while we're watching it, all of a sudden, whoosh, it's gone. And I mean, you couldn't have followed it. It went that fast.
Right. So it
went rate of knots, unbelievably fast. My father turned round and he knelt down in front of me and my brother and said, "Look, whatever happens in the future, don't ever let anybody tell you that didn't happen, because what you've just seen wasn't from here. That happened, and don't ever let anybody tell you it didn't." And that was it. We went up to the top of Winds Hill, we had a run around, we went home. And it was never mentioned. So as I got into adult life, I've been in the army, I'd been all over the place, all over the world. I took my dad out for a pint as he was getting older, and I said, "Dad, I want to talk to you about that thing that happened on Winds Hill." He said, "I don't want to talk about it, son." Now, that wasn't my dad. My dad he was very open with me. He would talk about anything with me.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to talk about that UFO, I'm telling you.
No.
I spoke to my brother about it. My brother saw exactly as I did. Unfortunately, my brother passed away a few years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was as clear. Honestly, Mick, it was as clear as day.
So you was actually going up the pike when you saw
we were walking upwards towards the pike, we were walking towards the mast. Actually, it was parked next to the mast. I mean, since then I've actually flown hang gliders off off Winter Hill. So, I mean, I know the area quite well.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was as clear as day, mate, honestly. I've probably mentioned this to 3 people or 4 people during the course of my life.
Yeah.
And it's always ended in ridicule. It's always ended up in somebody taking the mickey. And so in the end, eventually you just stop doing it. You stop mentioning it. Another part of the story is that over the course of my life, always in the company of another person, one time in life, in fact, twice with my wife, and obviously once with my brother and my father, I've seen 2 other things in the sky that defied description, really.
Yeah.
Just very fast moving objects that they were nothing like the one in the early 60s that I saw on Winter Hill. But, I mean, there were clear objects in the sky moving incredibly fast. Now, to this day, my wife still refuses to accept that she saw something, even though we both stood there and watched it.
Yeah.
It's a case of denial, I think. But listen, there's something going on that we don't understand. I mean, there are too many reports worldwide for there not to be fair.
That's
as far as I'm concerned, anyway. That's just my opinion.
yeah.
I'm not some kind of crank. I'm not. I've done some serious jobs throughout my life. As well as the forces, I've done other things. So I'm nobody's fool.
Yeah.
And like that lady on one of your previous videos said, I know what I saw.
Yeah.
And nobody will ever convince me otherwise. Well, that stuck with me, actually, because that is exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
And that is exactly my response when these people... they were friends, and generally over a pint, you're sitting there having a drink, and they will say, oh, what are you talking about? What are you saying here? And say, look, I know what I saw. And, you're not going to convince me otherwise, so don't even try. But, no, it's refreshing to actually tell somebody about it who's not going to, take the rip out of you. My father went the other way. I mean, I can only assume this. I don't know for a fact because, as I say, he didn't discuss it.
Yeah.
But I assume that my father at some point tried to discuss it with attempted a discussion with other people, and he got the same reaction, ridicule. Although I can't help anybody who tried to ridicule my father because, like I say, he was a very serious man.
Yeah.
But I can only assume that was it, and he decided, right, that is it. I'm drawing a line under this, and I'm not discussing it any further, and moved on. And he wouldn't even discuss it with me, and I was there. So anyway, I mean, it was his decision, and that was it. I wasn't going to argue with him. I wasn't going to sort of fall out with him over it.
Yeah. I take it you spoke with your brother about this encounter at the time.
Yeah, I did do. Later in life as well, he just saw it the way I saw it. Although he was nearly 5 years older than me, he remembered it just as vividly. It's not the kind of thing when it happens. It's not the kind of thing you're going to forget.
No.
It's ingrained. Think back to your childhood, Mick. There's going to be things in your childhood, going back as far as 5 and 6, as I am, I think you will remember because it was,
Yeah, I do. I know what you mean by that. I have had experiences where
that's right.
stick in your mind.
Yeah. Now, I'm not going to tell you that this has caused me sleepless nights because it hasn't.
Yeah.
It's more excitement than anything else.
Yeah.
But I think the annoying thing is that if you do try to tell it or tell the story, people think you're either loopy or a thinner, telling lies. I've conversed with my brother about it when he was alive, and he confirmed everything. He told the story to me, because I asked him to, and he related it exactly as it was in my mind. So, two minds thinking the same story exactly without any,
well, that's
collaboration. It confirms it.
Yeah, because I mean, even though you have seen it yourself, you still doubt yourself, don't you? You know, with things like that, you still.
Hey, listen, mate. I've doubted myself. The fact that my father wouldn't discuss it.
Yeah.
In fact, I must have tried a couple of times with my dad to discuss it, various times. But as I discussed, my dad was a very, very serious person.
Yeah.
A very loving person. Don't get me wrong, I love my dad to pieces. But he was a very serious person. He was a sergeant major in the army. So you can imagine, when he said jump, you asked how high.
Yeah.
But he was very loving as well in his own way. But for him to not discuss it has had an effect on a very, very hard, serious man.
Yeah.
And he was the adult there, so you can imagine. And I'm trying to gauge the distance, and it's difficult because have you been up to the mast, right up to the mast?
Yeah.
It doesn't look much from a distance, but when you get up close to it, it's a bloody huge thing.
It is.
At the bottom.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to do in my mind now, going back 60 years now, I'm going back.
Yeah.
I'm trying to judge how far I would have been away from it, and I can only assume I was about probably 200 meters.
Right.
250 meters maximum, I'd say, from it. And it wasn't sitting there on horizontally, it was sitting at 45 degrees, sort of. Well, I don't know, 35 to 45 degrees, I would have said.
Yeah.
So it wasn't horizontal and it wasn't vertical, it was sort of in between it. And then all of a sudden, gone. And literally as fast as that.
Right.
It was that fast you couldn't have followed it. You couldn't have followed it with your eyes, otherwise you'd broke your neck.
Did it go up?
No, it went, as far as I saw, it went across my vision. I'm looking up the hill at the mast, and it went away to my left. It went away to the left. I'm not sure where that would be heading towards. I'm trying to work it out now. It's heading out over towards Wigan, isn't it? That
towards Cumbria, you mean, or?
I'm trying to work out from where I was going up the hill, but without the exact coordinates, I wouldn't be able to work it out really. But anyway, it went across my vision, so I saw it leave. But if I had tried to follow it, I'd have broke my neck. It was going that fast. Right. Yeah. It has changed my whole outlook on life and how I look at things. Yeah. And when I sit here and watch YouTube, I watch endless amounts of programs on. I like the paranormal. I like to watch UFOs. I like to watch Graham Hancock. People like that. Yeah, and I like Egyptology and things like that. I'm quite a serious bloke, so for me to sit here and talk about this is A, refreshing, and B, I won't tell you any lies.
No, I can see that. I can sense that.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. Thank you. But what you're doing is great, and you're putting it out there, which is again, you're putting stuff out there that people shy away from. Have you had UFO experiences?
Yeah, not like yours. Lights in the sky, seeing metallic objects in the sky, and that's it. Really, just the two experiences. One being over Winter Hill as well, right over the mast.
I think there's probably more goes on up there than people realise, but it's quite isolated, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
There's a place called St George's Road that goes up to up to Winter Hill.
Yeah.
From the Horwich end.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that'd be a good place to do a bit of sky watching occasionally. Can I tell you another little story?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
Yeah. About 1973, I was on an exercise on Dartmoor.
Yeah.
With the I was in the army at the time. I joined at 15 as a junior, what's called a junior leader. And we're out on Dartmoor doing exercise, and we heard something very, very strange. It was a cat, but a very distressed cat. Now we were literally miles from anywhere. There was no human habitation anywhere near us.
Yeah.
So anyway, when the exercise was over, we all had to RV at this. It was like a farmhouse house that we all had. It was just a common point on the map.
Yeah.
So we all RV'd there, and there happened to be a farmer there who worked the land. He wasn't with us. He just happened to be in the vicinity. And one of our senior NCOs turned around to him and said, "What the bloody hell was that? What was that noise? We heard a noise last night, overnight, and we don't. I haven't a clue what it." He said it sounded like a big cat. He says, "That's because it was a big cat, boy." And he said, "What do you mean it was a big cat? It'd have to be a bloody big cat to make that kind of noise." He said, it is a bloody big cat. He said, it takes down sheep, it takes down all sorts. He said, and it's been running around here on Dartmoor for more years. He said, and he went on to say he thinks there's a family of them because it's been going on that long. He was talking 10, 15 years. He described it. He's seen it, this guy.
Yeah, yeah.
This guy's seen it. He said it's a big black thing.
Yeah.
It stands as big as what was it? What are those dogs that carry the brandy around the neck?
St Bernard.
He said it's about the size of a St Bernard, and it's black and it's really healthy looking. It's really shiny. He said, I just didn't want to be in the same vicinity of it. It looked as though it could take you down, in a heartbeat.